by the esteemed Mr. Matamore and Mr. Beeger to talk
Hey
about digital
guys.
media.
Oh yeah.
Hello!
Very good.
I hope everyone can.
The program that needs no introduction.
Wait a minute. They already introduced it though.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
What's
Well,
going
Okay.
on? What's
not a
up?
whole lot. Today's turning out to be the more relaxed, a little less stiff. I'm kind of into it as opposed to last
Every
week
Okay.
where
day.
it was like, tell me all about your program. But you know what? Take it away. Tell me all about your program.
Okay. Well, digital media is a 2-year program, like most of the programs at BOCES. So you take it in your junior year and senior year, and it's just, it's a sequence. You go from one year to the next, and it builds from one year to the next. We focus on media production of all sorts and communication. And we cover a broad range of media topics, like really on purpose, so that when students graduate, they really, have a broad range of skills that they can use in the industry. So that's really the point of our class is to get people ready to work in the media industry. Um, producing media, television, movies, video games, illustration, graphic design, video, those are all jobs that you can do. And those are all jobs that people do. And it's not like, some mysterious thing. You can get those jobs, and we can help you. Um, and we can also prepare you to work to work towards an arts and communication or technology track in college. All right. So if your thought is, I really want to go to college, this will give you like a huge leg up in college because the stuff that we're doing at BOCES is college level to some degree where, a lot of the entry level courses in college, if you go to take this kind of stuff in college, that's what we're doing at BOCES. All right. So you're going to already have those skills. We teach industry skills, so like software and hardware and techniques on producing media, but we also teach soft skills like how to communicate with people, how to work in groups with people, because this is a huge team industry. And we teach you, how to professionally communicate. Now we teach you how to professionally communicate on camera Zoom calls and things like that. And we also really promote a culture of like kindness and encouragement. We're a very inclusive and accepting class. We're driven by mastery. So what like we really want to promote that skill building in you and promote your creativity and give you feedback in a constructive way that's going to help you master these skills. And again, the final goal really is to work in the industry. We want to get you out there and working and doing this for a living.
So I said this with Mr. Hunt's presentation before. This is another one of those classrooms and the classes where you walk in, you're not waiting your turn for a laptop. You come in, you sit at your Mac, you get to work. It's a very cool environment. Arguably one of the coolest environments as far as BOCES programming goes. There's always good tunes on. It's an awesome place to work. I've experienced both of your classrooms before, and it's you walk in and you're like, oh yeah, this is nice. I love that.
Yeah, we
Um,
do. We do like to have fun, and
yeah,
and that reflects the industry. Like we work hard in this industry, but it's a fun industry. Let's be honest, and let's recognize that, and we do have fun, while we're learning. And let's just to jump into some of the stuff that we cover in the class, if I may.
please
Um,
do.
we, we work mostly with the Adobe Creative Cloud software, okay, so which is an industry standard software. If you guys have heard of Photoshop, you've heard of Adobe. And Adobe makes, besides Photoshop, they make all sorts of other applications for editing video, for graphic design, for illustration, for animation, for audio recording as well. And so we cover all those topics. We get you into graphic design. We'll get you into illustration and digital drawing. We'll get you into producing videos and editing video. And also, of course, animation. We do focus mostly on 2D animation. And we do, also things like motion graphics, and we record audio for video. We do photography and all sorts of things. Anything that you can see and hear on the internet or out there in media land is stuff that we do.
So it should be said that, I think a common question is, how is digital media different than VPRA? And you touch on similar things, but the focus is very different, right?
Yes, actually. So in the VPRA class, if you were in for the last session, they focus on video production and music production. So what they're focusing, they do a lot of video, let's say for the sake of video, for like film production and things like that. And they do music production, which is like multi-track audio recording, like recording a band or recording a musical artist. So in the way that we differ is that we do, let's say the video stuff that we do is geared more towards putting together, media packages, let's say for websites or, social media or marketing, things like that. We also do like short films and things like that, but we focus more towards, let's say, the media marketing side of things. And then let's say the audio production that we do is geared towards audio for media production. So we might be recording a soundtrack for an animation, or we might be recording Foley sound effects, or we might be, editing audio down that will go behind a video, so that's kind of the difference of the class. So we focus more on illustration and animation and graphic design, which is not included in the VPRA classes.
Right. Thanks for clarifying. Those, we have some common programs that are similar, but certainly not the same. So I always like to be able to differentiate between the two, just so you guys know what you are signing up for.
Mm-hmm.
So, can we talk like job market? What's the industry like? What kind of jobs are to be had by graduates and things like that?
Yeah, the job market's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Digital media is everywhere. We are bombarded with graphic design, and not just on our typical billboards and the sides of buses, but our phones, our computers, when we're walking in and out of places. We are constantly being delivered information. And it's not just advertising, it's information. It's still got to have that same cinematic look and feel. It's still got to have really high quality audio, and it's got to have amazing design aesthetic. And as technology changes and software changes and trends change, well, so does the stuff we have to make. And so it just seems like the opportunities are almost limitless. What's interesting about this industry, though, is while you can hunker down and find a Monday through Friday kind of gig in the industry, there's a lot of people who work more on a freelance basis as well, client to client to client, not just doing one thing, possibly doing video work one day, graphic work another day, maybe they're participating on the audio side another day. A typical week for me outside of school involves all those things. Mr. Matamore, in fact, we're just on a video shoot on Friday away from the classroom, and that involved, video and audio, and it's going to also involve graphic design on the back end when working in post. So, it's almost like sky's the limit. And then technology is also emerging. So I had a student join in the junior class this year who's really interested in architecture and CAD, which is not something we teach in digital media, except digital media for architecture is an industry in itself and a degree path at college. So it inspired me this year to start, dipping my toe in that industry and integrating architecture into digital media, because now people are building, not just homes, but big buildings that are wrapped with digital media. And the digital media itself is a part of that permanent installation. And so we have to be flexible in the classroom, because naturally we're hoping these people that join us for 800 hours are going to be able to leave into a job market that is constantly changing and full of tons of opportunity.
Yeah, Jake, if I could just add on to that, I was going to say, like the idea of being able to do it all or be like a jack of all trades, that's the person that a lot of companies are looking for. Somebody who's young, who knows what's going on with technology and media, that can come in and like really take care of all their needs. They can make their little promo videos for their social media. They can create a print ad. They can create a video. They can create an animation. They want people that can, do all that kind of stuff. I was talking to one of my students who's like really into illustration, and he's building his portfolio right now. And I was telling him I was watching, like some NFL games over the weekend, and when they cut to a screen where they show like the stats of a player and they're going to highlight a player, it wasn't a photo of the player, it was an illustration of the player. So here's this like really high end like vector graphic illustration of an NFL player. So that was someone's job to go and, how many players are there on every NFL team? 60 something. So, they're doing illustrations of, 60 NFL players for this week's game, which I thought I just, it's like when you start to look around, you see it everywhere. It's kind of cool.
I was just looking at some of the job postings the other day, and local companies in Western New York are looking for social media managers who are digital artists who can copyright. And all of a sudden, it's like jobs that used to be in and of themselves, a copywriter was a copywriter. And now they want somebody to come in there and be able to manage the entire experience. And the graphic designers and copywriters that have been doing it for a couple of decades are balking at this. Like, oh my gosh, why is everybody asking me to do everything now? But the ones that are coming out of programs now are like, where can I go that I can do everything? So it is a really cool opportunity for sure.
It sounds like that kind of comes along with the social media piece, because when you post something to social media, right, you have your image or your video, and then you're writing the copy underneath it, and then you are sending it out and managing your views and all of those things. So I can see how that mindset of doing all of those things would make sense for a
Yeah.
specific thing.
Yeah.
The other thing that I think is really cool about your industry is that, it's very group. There's a group dynamic to each project, but at the same time, you can work independently within a group. So it appeals to all different type of work styles and personalities. I just think that that's really cool.
Yeah, that's how we work the classes a lot too. There's group work and there's big team projects, but when you're part of that project, a lot of time you're working kind of on your own, doing your own little part of it.
Right, right. Your piece of the whole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so, we just talked about job market and things like that and what they're looking for. You guys have articulation agreements where students can earn college credit by successfully completing your class. Can we talk a little bit about articulations and college trajectory kind of stuff?
Yeah, sure. We have articulation agreements right now with a few community colleges and some four-year schools. So on the 2-year community college side, we have agreements with ECC for their video production track. We have NCCC, which is Niagara County Community College, and we have an agreement for their digital media program. We have Mohawk Valley Community College, which is out, I think, near Albany, or like in the Mohawk Valley, I guess. I'd have to look into what program they're giving credit for there. But then moving on to the four-year schools, and these are all local. We have Villa, Medaille, Canisius, and Hilbert. And all of those schools will give you 6 credits for just for taking the 2-year digital media sequence. And what that usually does is get you out of 2 like introductory classes. So if you're taking a program where you're going to learn Photoshop, you don't have to take the intro to Photoshop class because you've already done 2 years of Photoshop. So you get those credits for free, which is nice, which is a good cost savings, and it's a good time savings.
So what do you think a student would need to bring with them as maybe not need, but what is a character trait of a student that's going to push them really far in your class and in the industry?
Yeah, Mr. Hunt sort of touched on it at the end. You know, the first thing we try to impress on everybody, and anytime we have a special guest, you know, working professionally in the industry that sit with our classes, they all say the same thing, and it's that you do have to be a good hang. You got to be fun to be around. You know, production days are long sometimes. I've been on productions that have gone over 24 hours nonstop, and when you're in the company, and I don't mean to scare anybody. I mean, they're not all like that, but I mean, there are productions that take a very long time to get from load into load out. And, you know, when you're around people for that long, you got to want to be around each other. And our classes are 2.25 hours long. You know, I said 800 hours over 2 years. You want to be around people that you want to be around. And Mr. Metamore had mentioned already about being compassionate and kindness. And, you know, these are all really not just attributes of our class, but I mean, I would go as far as to say attributes of life, if you will. The technical skills are going to come because if you have the attitude already and you want to be there and you want to be in the company of other creators, well, the technical skills are going to come. And so just show up and be, you know, wanting to make stuff and be happy to be there, and all the rest is going to fall into place for you.
I love that. Just a quick reminder that if you have any questions, feel free to type them into the chat or go ahead and unmute and ask your question. It's totally fine. But we have about 10 minutes left, so I want to make sure that all of your questions get answered. Whoa. Is there any equipment we're required to have?
So, well, equipment-wise, no. You don't need to have any special equipment. We provide everything. The only thing you might need is a pair of headphones to plug into your computer while you're working. You don't really need any like previous experience doing this either. We start right at the ground level. It's helpful to know your way around a computer a little bit, like, you know, you've used a computer to do like normal school stuff. If you've done that, then you're already on your way. Even if you've never turned on a computer before, we'll show you where the power switch is and we'll get you going. You know, like we teach everybody assuming that you know nothing, or not that you don't know anything, but you know, you can always learn, and we can always learn. We're always learning every day right along with you, because stuff happens that, you know, there's so many things on there on the computers and programs that new stuff comes up every day, but we get through it together, which is a lot of fun.
You don't know what you don't know, right?
You don't know what you don't know either. That's a good point.
Mm-hmm. So another one, what are some projects we might do?
Oh yeah, well, first of all, we also include you on that as well. You know, what projects do you want to do? Because you know, we're going to be looking at every aspect of digital media. You know, Mr. Mattermore mentioned about graphic design and 2D animation, photo editing, compositing, illustration. You know, these are all skills, but what we do with those, you know, artistically, well, that's kind of up for grabs. We'll do package design. We'll do, you know, I mentioned like the 2D animation. We'll start off with like stick figure animation, single scene. You know, we'll provide the stuff for you if you know, don't have a creative, say, idea or concept that you want to roll with. But, you know, I kind of like to introduce what we're going to do fundamentally and then see what you want to do with that. You know, so let's say, for example, I'm just embarking now in Adobe Illustrator with the juniors. We're doing logo design. Our very first lesson is to follow along and create a logo that everybody creates the exact same thing. But once we do that, it's what do you want to make now? And now you get to spend, you know, class time or multiple classes. Some projects take a week or 2 weeks even, depending on the scope of the project. But now it's what do you want to do? And then sometimes Mr. Mattermore and I will design a project around where you pitch us an idea or a concept or a storyboard, and then, you know, we might help refine that, make some revision requests, or just, you know, A-OK it, and then off to the races you go. So you play a big part in the kinds of projects we do, and then we just try to provide the fundamentals and the skills and give you the tools to do what you want to do.
You know, what's one I like from that, Mr. Beeger, is that Meet the Artist thing. I
Yeah.
think that was suggested by a student, and that really took off. That, you know, it became this kind of fun little introduction thing that we have all the students do at the beginning of the year. And, you know, we'll have the students draw this kind of, it's almost like a little, you know, autobiographical graphic piece where they, you know, draw and they write about their likes and dislikes and them as an artist and what kind of art they do and things like that. And that was suggested by a student, and that's pretty cool. Now we do that every year. It's like become
Yeah.
kind of a tradition almost, you know. So
Yeah.
who knows what you guys might suggest? It'll become a tradition as well.
Yeah. Digital media for architecture. That's a student coming to me and saying, "Do we do any architecture CAD?" And then I was like, "No." But now every one of my Macs has, SketchUp on it, and we are now because of a student's idea. You know,
Yeah,
so
that's really
we're malleable. We're pretty easygoing when it comes to, and we're looking for ideas too. I mean, the stuff gets stale, right? Who wants to keep
We
doing
just
the same
started
stuff?
doing we just started doing like DIY videos, you know, which are like, you know, all over like Instagram and stuff, like
like
those
the
little
like
5 minute
tasty videos and
5 minute
stuff where it's
crafts and like how to
yeah,
make, you know, cake brownies and stuff like that, and like all these different things. We started doing those, and those have been a lot of fun to make.
yeah.
We're doing
Uh,
stop motion with the seniors right now too, stop motion animation. And that's taking, and I gave full creative license to the students with that. The stop motion concept of just taking a bunch of pictures and stitching them together. They have to put audio on there. There has to be a title card and an ending card. And, but I said, you can do what you want. And some students are making characters with rigging and, composites and like really big, Tim Burton type. And then other students are doing like speed drawing where they're screenshot, sketch, screenshot, sketch, screenshot. And we're watching some other artistic project come to life. Another student had their brother act out and they took picture of him shooting hoops, answering the phone. And then when she put it together, it looks like an old time movie. So it's
that's cool.
it's really, what the student wants to do, is always a huge influence on the direction we're going to go.
Mhm.
Are you guys using
We're
the
in the throes of
iPads
that now.
for those, Mr. Beeger? Are you guys
What's
using the
that?
iPads? Are you using the iPads for those,
Well, we
for that?
we they were available, but then we went remote right in the middle of it.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
everybody started going to their iPhones and whatever
Gotcha.
resources they
Yeah.
had. But
I
yeah, I
was
mean
going
we
to
have
mention that's
cameras
another,
and
yeah, that's another cool resource that we have, we have like a bunch of iPads that we can do like Procreate and Stop Motion Studio on and stuff like that.
yeah, for sure.
It should also be said that you're going to learn, I mean, as a student in your class, you're going to learn so many different things. And when creativity gets involved, you don't want your students to stop themselves because it's not their style, right? So learn the fundamental, take what the teachers are trying to teach you, and then you can apply your style when it's all systems go and you're on your own and doing a project. Um, right? You don't want to pinhole yourself into something where you can't crawl out of if you have to, right?
No, we definitely encourage everybody to pursue their own style, their own creative ideas.
Hmm.
You know, we give you, like Mr. Beeger said, we give you the skills, and then, you know, we help you with the creativity part, but then you take the lead from there.
Hmm.
Yeah, for sure. It gives you an artist's own brand identity. We try to help you find your voice. I know Mr. Matamore's got some seniors that were juniors in our class last year that we could already see as they were juniors, kind of what their aesthetic was as an artist. And now as seniors, they've really refined that. I have students that are, kind of anime sort of direction with character design. I have students that are gothic. I have students that are, 100% animation and it looks more like classic animation. I mean, it's just they found their voice and then we just kind of help, foster that same thing. So when it comes time to embark, whether that's going to be into the college program or the workforce or both, which is very realistic, we hope to, help them find that voice and that brand identity, that defines them as an individual.
Yeah, I have a student right now who is she wants to be an animator. I mean, she already is an animator, but she wants to be a professional animator.
Very cool.
And she is working through the animation pipeline right now, which is taking a story from idea to character sheet and script to storyboard and animatic, and then to the final 2D animation. And that's going to be like a really big part of her portfolio piece. So, you know, when you're a senior, we really try to help you focus on that track that you want to get on. Once you've learned so many things, you know, we'll get you on that track you want to be on and then ready for graduation, college, or career.
Yeah, we do try to, by the time we get to the midpoint or a little after the midpoint of the senior year, you know, have everybody already have sort of defined where they want to go, like some of the interest areas, and then allow them the freedom to not pursue some of the other things that we've taught and really focus on those things that define who they are as a creator. And some people might be animating, some people might be doing character design, illustration, you know, I mean, whatever. Everybody's on their own path as they approach the end of their senior year, and then we help give them an online entity, you know, for themselves, a website, an Instagram feed, you know, their demo reel, their portfolio. You know, we kind of help build all of that stuff for them before they leave our program.
Yeah, you guys do it all, literally, for the students. They're
We try.
ready to go.
We
Um,
assist them while they're doing it.
Yeah, they do.
That's fair. That is fair. But this is rounding out our 30 minutes. It went by really fast.
It sure
So
did.
if anyone has any last minute questions, feel free to either unmute or throw them in the chat and I'll ask them. But I have to, if you've been with me for the past couple talks, you're going to hear me say it again. These seats fill up quick in Mr. Mattamore and Mr. Beeger's class. Mr. Mattamore teaches out of the Kenton Center. Mr. Beeger teaches at Harkness. That is where digital media is offered, those two centers. But fear not, if you're in the South Towns, there is transportation available to you through your home district to get to your class of choice. So if you want to be a part of Mr. Mattamore or Mr. Beeger's digital media class, you want to hang out in their classroom, listen to some good music while you work, I would let your guidance counselor know as soon as possible to make sure that you have a guaranteed seat in the class. It is first come, first serve. There is no application process for our CTE programs, so they do fill up really quickly. I also want to say that it is a nice hands-on experience, which is a nice foil to what we've been experiencing lately, which is all Zoom or WebEx or Google Meet. So it's kind of like the anti-traditional school where you still get high school credit and you get to have fun.
That's right.
Yeah, see? Yeah, so that's it. Thank you guys so much for joining us and giving all that info out.
All right. Thanks for being here, everybody. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank
Take care.
you. I'm going to type in my email if anyone has any questions too, and I'll forward it to you guys if I can't answer it.
All right. Thanks.
Awesome.